My name is Sam King. I was born on the 20th of February 1926 in the colony of Jamaica into a Christian farming environment. When I was 18, I volunteered for the Royal Air Force, and by the way, you had to pass an academic test. I took the test, I passed. I also passed to go to America. And my mother said, "Son, the mother country is at war, go. And if you live, it would be a good thing." She was right. When I came to England in those days in 1944, one ship in three was being sunk by the German submarines. When I arrived in Greenock, Scotland, I was shocked. There was devastation all around. I have a Christian background and value. I didn't go drinking and get drunk. I've only been drunk once in my life by a trunk fish. By a fish.
A fish?
Yes. In the West Indies or in tropical, the trunk fish feed and something and keep the thing in their head for fighting. And if you roast the fish and didn't throw away the brains, you get drunk. I went to the seaside and the man gave me a fish. I took it home. My mother and father was away. I was looking after my younger brother, Sonny. And after about half an hour, I found that the world was spinning around. And I went to a neighbor and told him what happened. And they said, "I must lie down." I lay down for about an hour and it was all right. Thank God I've never been drunk again because it's unpleasant. I went to R.A. Filey near Scarborough, Yorkshire. After about 2 months training, I became an aircraft engineer. At first, a lot of people assumed if you were from the colony, you couldn't. But in many cases, I was a technical person, and some of them were not. So you had to accept, they had to accept that. If you have propeller-driven aircraft and it stopped, you can still ring Sam King, not jets. Old-fashioned like Lancaster, Dakota, Spitfires, Hurricane, like that. Let us get this straight. The Germans wanted to rule the world. And if they had won, they put a few people in ovens and light the fire, they would do almost the same to us. So it was a good thing to fight for our own salvation. And by the grace of God, we won.
Did you work with lots of white soldiers?
Oh, yes. There were not many West Indians in most camps. I think there was about 4 of us, 5 of us in most camps. But I was privileged. I worked with people from Norway to the Sudan. But Britain was at war, and they were glad to have us. And there's another thing. Some of the English people, I was blessed, a friend of mine took me to their home in Nottingham, Bulwell. And they took me as one of their own, because I was in uniform. And people were reasonable.
You were telling me about some of the white women that you knew or went out with. Did you meet them during the war or after?
Yes, during and after the war. And a lot of the English host nation treated them very bad. But love is blind. Some of them would give their lives for their boyfriend or for their husband. I nearly married a girl, Betty, from Victoria, Nottingham. But funny enough, my English family thought I shouldn't marry a girl from Victoria because my parents had written to them and says that we're not too bad, we have a few acres. But no, love is blind. She married somebody else. She married a fellow from Guildford, sorry. So that's that.
After the war, how did you find settling in, finding jobs and housing?
I wanted to stay in England. They said no.
Yes.
I had to go on a course. I was apprentice carpentry to Coventry and finish up, and then they shipped me back to Jamaica. When I went back to Jamaica after the war, things were very bad. So I came back on the SS Empire Windrush, and when again my English friend Chalice took me to Balham Labour Exchange, they offered me 5 jobs. 5, because I was qualified. I said, no, I'm going back into the Royal Air Force. I did. For 4 years, I helped my brother and other relatives And we're the second black family to buy a house in Camberwell, 9 Sears Street, and lots of people start coming. So God has been good that I helped myself and helped my family. In 1950, there was a ad says room to let. I went to Stockwell where it was. I took a man. When I got there, it says no Irish, no blacks, no dogs. Very hurtful, but it was a blessing. We had to buy property, resulting that if you bought a 3-bedroom house in Brixton Hill for $2,500 in 1950, today it's $500,000. I was always active in the community, and they said I should become a councillor. I became a councillor, and I knew about housing. And after about 6 months as a councillor in Southwark, they said they're going to make me the mayor of Southwark next year. When I went home, my wife was in bed. I said, Mother, you know these people are silly. They said they're going to make me the mayor of Southwark next year. She said, Sam, you've got no ambition. You could be anything if you wanted. And next year they made me the mayor of Southwark. The National Front, about 2 weeks before I was to be mayor, let it be known that if Sam King becomes the mayor of Southwark, they're going to slit my throat and burn down my house. My reply was, I'm a Christian. I'm not against them slitting my throat, but they should not burn down my house because it's not a council house. And give the newspaper their due. Even the Daily Mail had 2 inches in the front page. This man volunteered during the war and they made him the mayor of Southwark. Who should say he shouldn't be the mayor? I had a good coverage. And by the way, by the grace of God, it went well. Being the mayor went well. There were people asking for me to go to this school and that. But I spread it out. I let the deputy mayor do most of the ones I didn't like. I was this first black mayor in Southwark, and I think the second black person in Britain to become the mayor. With a budget of about 50 million, you have to sign for that. And it didn't go too bad, and we were blessed. We had 2 songs of praise at Southwark Cathedral. And by the way, the mayor wear I have a gold chain around his neck. The BBC sold the program to all over the English-speaking world. And Diana Lewis Jordan was the one who organized it. And next year it was so good that they organized another one at Southwark Cathedral. So we had 2 songs of praise.
And could you tell me a bit about the work you do for ex-servicemen?
The record says I was one of the trustees here. The man who started it, the week after, I became a member and we worked together. And in those days, there was about 70 of us ex-warmen. And we did things in the community. And not only that, we also organized that some people have Saturday schools here and things like that. So we contributed in the community.